Hello and welcome once again to Beat the Reset. My name is Tim and I am the guy in the hat. And today our topic is called harvesting your digital twin. What this is in relation to is the smart cities programs. Smart does not mean intelligent. Smart comes from the early hard disks of the 1980s and stands for self-managing and reporting technologies. However, I'm going to talk about smart cities from a perspective that you may not have heard of before. It's called the Digital Twin Technologies Project. Digital Twin. So the idea is, in its fundamental form, is to recreate entire cities in the virtual space in real time. Recreate virtual cities. Now, who is behind this is the big question. And I'm going to talk about three corporations specifically that are responsible for the development of the Digital Twin program. The corporations may not be the corporations you were expecting. The first one is IBM, and they've been involved in technology for many, many decades. The next one is Rolls-Royce. That's right. So you normally associate Rolls-Royce with beautiful cars, of course, but they build engines and all sorts of technology. And the third one is McKinsey Co., formed in 1926. McKinsey Co. were largely considered for a long time to be the shadow government of the United States. And they sit under the banner of the United Nations. So these are the three organisations or corporations, if you like, that are heading up or responsible for the development of the Digital Twins Technology Program, otherwise known as Smart Cities. So let's go back to the start. Let's step you through it piece by piece so you understand what we're dealing with right here. Now, I'm going to be talking about some of the terminology and some of the words that these corporations and institutions use in their own white papers. So I'm going to be trying to talk their language, and I'm going to do this deliberately to help give you an education on how you need to start thinking, because the corporations have a term called digital maturity. That is, how much do you really understand about what they're telling you and about what's coming? Now, they don't need you to be a programmer. They don't need you to be a developer. They just need you to understand basically what's going on. And that's what I'm going to do here. So fortunately, I've got a very, very hardcore IT background, specifically in programming of databases. So I understand implicitly what they're trying to do here. Now, it is on a level that it's difficult to understand because this technology is decades, if not centuries old. Did I say centuries old? It's incredibly old technology. So, in fact, some of the technology we probably won't see in the consumer space for maybe 100, maybe 150 to 200 years, or maybe never. So what have we got in this digital twin technology? What does this space actually look like? Well, if you log on and have a look, because in the state of Victoria, so I'm in Victoria, Australia, so if you're watching from somewhere else in the world, I live in Victoria, Australia. You can log on to the portal and you can type in Digital Twin Victoria and you can take a real-time tour of the city and state of Victoria. I did say real-time, which begs a bunch of questions. How on earth is a city and a countryside the size of Victoria? Because Victoria is bigger than in most countries. So how on earth is it doing this in real time? What sort of technologies must be in place in order for a city and a countryside to be able to describe itself, if you like, to the virtual space? Moreover, this is being recorded in real time. So what kind of servers, what kind of hard disk space, what kind of cloud space are we talking? And of course, as I mentioned, we have to take our 2023 hats off and start thinking more like 2200 or 2250 in the year 2250 and beyond. These technologies are very old, so it's going to be very, very old, as in they've been around for a long, long time and been in development for a long, long time. So you're going to have to take your 2023 hat off. It's a little bit like a caveman looking at the internet. We have to stop trying to put it into our current speak because it won't make any sense to us. However, let's get back to it. So we have a virtual space. It's a virtual copy of the city and the countryside, and it's running in real time. And the objects, known as assets, So there are two types of assets. There are inanimate assets and there are functioning and alive assets. So of course humans are alive, so we are functioning and alive. And then of course you've got the inanimate objects, things like street signs and lampposts and bus stops. The question is, how are they describing themselves to this virtual space? Because of course this virtual space, you can actually look at it in real time. And by the way, you can look at it right now. You don't need to take my word on it. You can just Google digital twin Victoria and go and have a look for yourself. Now when you first arrive, you will notice that it looks largely like Google Maps on steroids. It looks like a very, very nice version of Google Maps with some fundamental key differences. And when I say fundamental key differences, I'm talking in orders of magnitude differences. The first one is you can look at everything in such enormous detail. The question is, do we actually have the bandwidth on the network? So of course we're led to believe that 5G, 6G, 10G is all about internet speeds. It's got nothing to do with it whatsoever and largely to do with bandwidth. But do we really have the bandwidth to really actually absorb and look at a program like this? Well, I'm on a very fast network here and I found it to be quite slow and a little bit rickety. The first things you will notice is, again, it looks largely like Google Maps. You can elevate, of course, upwards, and of course you can go below ground as well. That's something that you can't do on Google Maps. So this has an ability for you to fly over and of course to go underneath the city as well. Now we are led to believe this is all for construction purposes and all for the benefits of people who are architects to be able to sort of analyze blocked pipes and problems with buildings and all sorts of stuff. But again, going back to it, how are we getting this information in real time? What kind of technologies, what kind of materials must be able to report? So the white papers of IBM, Rolls-Royce and McKinsey Co. talk about something called core functionality of asset. What they mean by that is, what is the core purpose of a bus stop? What is the core purpose of a street lamp? What is the core purpose of, say, for example, a tree? Or what is the core purpose of a human? Now, in order to get data, now data is critical. In fact, data, or data if you like, is the new commodity. And what these corporations are looking for is purified data in its most pure form. The better the data, the better it will be for the system. So, core functionality is critical, understanding the core functionality of an asset. So let's have a look at it. A bus stop, at first when you look at it, appears to have no core functionality. However, it is currently reporting to the grid in real time. How is it doing that? What is it about that bus stop that enables it to talk to the digital twin technology, virtual space? Well, we have to look at it realistically. Either something is recording it, like a camera, which is what humans would think. It is built out of a material that is able to talk in some way to the grid, or it is coated in some kind of material that is able to report to what we call a series of smart devices which upload to a data warehouse and of course are then aggregated, and then a picture is formed of the virtual space. So a bus stop has to have a number of ways to be able to talk to the grid. So does a tree. So if you think about a tree that's out in a field in a country town somewhere in the middle of nowhere, how is that tree reporting in real time to the grid what it looks like, how tall it is, what its health status is? There's a number of possibilities here. Now, a tree is, of course, not made out of anything because it is an organic asset, if you like, on its own. It grows naturally. So the first thought is, could it be in the water? Could it be the fluoride in the water? If you shorten the word fluoride, you get fluoro. Could it be that? Could it be the fact that there is some kind of chemical or dust that it is coated in on a regular basis? That enables it to behave more like a hard disk that's reporting itself. And could it be that the entire city, in fact maybe even the entire state of Victoria, is constantly coated in some kind of film, if you like, that enables them to talk real time to the grid? Because let's be honest, this is already up and running and you can actually log on and see it, so therefore they must be reporting. Now, when it comes to humans and animals, it's a little bit of a different story. The question is, what is the core functionality of a human? That is a very interesting question. And according to these white papers, there are a couple of key areas of functionality, two of which I will talk about right here. One of them is the reproductive system and the other one is the heart. So these are two core areas of functionality, and you can get information about the heart by simply strapping on a digital watch or something like that. We humans are somehow emitting data streams to the grid. Now, some humans are emitting more data than others, which begs the question, how and why? What exactly is it that humans have that enable them to transmit data to the grid? Are we coated in some kind of material? Is it to do with the water supply? Is there other ways that humans are talking to the grid? Now, the reason I bring this to your attention is because this is actually happening right now. We have a virtual space called a digital twin. This is an exact copy, replica of the real world. You can elevate, you can go below ground, you can look at it in 2D, you can look at it in 3D, and you can look at it in 4D. That's right. In other words, 2D is flat, 3D is length, width, height, and you can walk around it. 4D is spatial. So in this technology, this digital twin technology, there is an ability for spatial awareness. What that brings into the equation is not just AI, which AI is artificial intelligence that effectively aggregates data. And the AI component aggregates it in a data warehouse. However, there's one more technology that's applied to the digital twins technology, which enables all the data streams to be turned into something that can actually be experienced through something called augmented reality. That's correct, augmented reality. So you basically go into a room and you suit up and you put on some goggles. And what you can do is you can, based on the data sets that are aggregated in the data warehouse, it's passed onto the augmented reality engine. Of course, it turns everything from data streams into visuals. So with these data streams, what one has the ability to do, and Singapore, of course, are working on this, and you can check that as well. Singapore are largely looking at this at the moment, which is the 4D version of the Digital Twins program. So we're not just collecting data about weather and temperatures, we're also able to travel back diagnostically. So the Digital Twins technology platform has three fundamental statuses: diagnostic, current status, and prognostic. If you put on the augmented reality glasses, you can go and have a look diagnostically at the system, which means you can travel backwards in time because, of course, this is all being recorded. So if you're in your capital city, you can go back 3.5 weeks to a street corner somewhere. Even if you weren't even there, you can pretend you were there, you can fly around, you can look at the people walking by, you can experience everything. Of course, it'll tell you everything about that street corner back 3 weeks ago. Then you can come forward and have a look at that street corner now. And then, of course, this is incredible, and this is probably the part that is most fascinating. The AI engine, together with the augmented reality, will take the diagnostic together with the current status. They will aggregate it and form a view of the future, and you can go as far into the future as you like. You can go and stand on a street corner in the future and have a look at who will be walking by and what they'll be talking about and what they will be doing. And that is the Digital Twins technology program. And of course, all of this is collected through a series of smart devices, self-managing and reporting technology devices. And there are some of these devices are so advanced that they are down at the nano level. They're not even able to be viewed with the human eye. And that is our wonderful new world. I do have a new book coming out, and I'll be releasing that book in a few weeks. So if you want to get your hands on it, I do talk about this particular topic. In fact, there's a chapter in the book called Harvesting Your Digital Twin. There's another chapter in the book called Extinction Level Programming, and you may want to get along and read that because there's not a lot of people in this space talking about this. Hopefully we've achieved some sort of digital maturity. Anyway, that's it for me today. This is, of course, I call myself the guy in the hat, Tim, the guy in the hat from Beat the Reset. Hope you enjoyed this one. Signing off. Make sure you look after yourselves and your families, and I look forward to seeing you very soon.